Ever found yourself trying to describe something really intense? Maybe a truly amazing sunset, or maybe a film that was just genuinely terrible,
Hmm.
and you feel like your words they just don't hit the mark. You reach for that familiar word, try to boost it somehow, but it still falls flat.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, we land on that easy shortcut, the word very. Welcome to the deep dive. We go through, well, stacks of sources, articles, research, our notes basically, to pull out the key insights and nuggets of knowledge just for you.
That's the plan.
And today, our mission is really to unpack why very isn't just some common word. It's actually, well, a bit of a linguistic crutch.
A crutch, yeah.
We'll dig into the psychology behind using precise words and hopefully equip you with a powerful toolkit, alternatives, strategies.
Practical stuff.
Exactly. This isn't about sounding fancy or pretentious. It's really about clarity, impact, and frankly, just communicating smarter. So let's dive right in. Why is this tiny word very, which seems so harmless, actually kind of undermining how we communicate?
Yeah. It's funny how deceptive it is.
It feels like nothing, but our sources are pretty clear it causes problems. What's the main issue?
Well, it's really a threefold problem, as the sources lay it out. The first big one is what you might call the laziness of amplification.
Laziness.
Yeah, very basically does the heavy lifting for us. It stops us from finding words that already have that intensity built in. It's like imagine a volume knob for your language. Instead of finding a really clear, high-quality recording, you just crank the volume on a fuzzy one.
You just get louder static.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Louder static. So instead of digging for words like frigid or glacial or even bitter to describe serious cold, we just default to very cold.
It's a shortcut.
It's a cognitive shortcut, absolutely. But the cost is nuance. We lose a whole world of meaning.
That makes a lot of sense. We're just outsourcing the real description work to this one tiny word. Okay, so it makes us lazy. What's the second way it weakens our message?
The second issue is the dilution of meaning. And this is kind of paradoxical.
Yes.
Because using very all the time actually makes your message weaker. Our sources talk about this thing called semantic satiation.
Okay.
Basically, a word loses its punch through sheer repetition. Think about it. If everything is very important, then, well, nothing really stands out as genuinely important anymore, does it?
Right, it all just blends together.
Exactly. Whereas a more precise adjective, like critical or essential or paramount, carries specific weight. It has inherent meaning that very important just washes away, makes everything sound kind of bland.
Okay, so it's lazy, and it makes everything sound less significant, ironically. What's the third problem very throws at us?
The third challenge is the vagueness of subjectivity.
Yeah.
Very is just inherently subjective.
Meaning?
Meaning my very tired could be you're a bit fatigued.
Yeah.
What I think is very expensive might be, pocket change for someone else.
Right, it depends totally on the person.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that lack of precision can be really unhelpful, sometimes even damaging, especially in, say, professional settings or technical discussions.
Like when?
Well, if a project is very delayed, what does that even mean? A day? A week? A month?
You have no idea.
No idea. But if you say it's deadlined or maybe critically behind schedule, now you're giving specific measurable context. Or take very expensive. Compare that to prohibitively expensive.
Prohibitively tells you it actually stops you from buying it.
Exactly. It implies a consequence. Precise terms bridge that gap between your subjective feeling and what your audience actually understands.
That clarity point, especially at work, feels really, really crucial. And this isn't a new idea, is it? I remember reading Florence King, a brilliant writer. She famously said,
yeah.
very is the most useless word in the English language and can always come out. More than useless, it is treacherous because it invariably weakens what it is intended to strengthen. She did not mince words.
Wow, treacherous. That's strong.
It is. And her point about weakening things, it reminds me of that Mark Twain advice you sometimes hear. Something like, substitute damn every time you're inclined to write very. Your editor will delete it, and the writing will be just as it should be.
Right, that famous quote.
What's the real lesson there, even if maybe Twain didn't exactly say it like that?
Well, yeah, the exact origin might be a bit fuzzy, but the wisdom behind it is spot on. The key takeaway isn't just, deleting very and leaving a hole.
Yeah.
It's that the process of getting rid of very forces you, the writer or speaker, to actively search for the right word, the more precise word.
Ah, I see.
So if you just said, it was a damn good show, and then you cut damn, you're left with, it was a good show.
Yeah.
that's weaker, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But if cutting it makes you pause and think, okay, what kind of good was it? Then you might land on, it was a spectacular show.
Hmm.
Or maybe an unforgettable performance or even a triumphant production.
So the deletion forces the upgrade.
Exactly. That deliberate cycle of deletion and thoughtful replacement, that's the engine for elevating how you communicate,
Oh.
whether writing or speaking. And what's really fascinating, I think, is this goes way beyond just grammar rules or, sounding sophisticated. Upgrading your vocabulary like this has real tangible effects on how people perceive you and how effectively your ideas get
Oh,
across.
really? Like what?
Well, our sources point to some pretty interesting stuff from cognitive psychology. It shows that using precise words isn't just about sounding smart. It actually changes how others see your competence.
How does that work?
It relates to something called cognitive fluency. Basically, how easily our brains process information.
Okay.
When you use precise words, your message is easier for your audience to process because it paints clearer mental pictures. It flows better.
Ah, so it's less work for them to understand you.
Exactly. And that ease of processing makes you seem more fluent, more knowledgeable, more on top of your subject, like you're commanding the words, not just fumbling for them.
Hmm.
There was even one study linking better vocabulary precision to higher ratings of leadership competence.
Wow. So it's not just about getting the message out, it's how you phrase it directly impacting how capable people think you are. That's a pretty significant psychological edge.
It really is.
Yeah.
Huge. And that clarity, that ease of processing, it feeds directly into the second benefit,
Hmm.
the power of evocative language.
Evocative, meaning it creates feeling.
Precisely. Precise language paints vivid pictures. It evokes emotion. Go back to that cold example we used earlier.
All right.
Cold is just basic.
Oh.
Sensation. But bitter cold.
Hmm.
That adds a sharp, unpleasant feeling.
Right.
Frigid suggests a deep, penetrating cold, maybe even dangerous.
Mm.
And glacial, that implies something immense, slow-moving, icy cold. Each word conjures a different image, a different feeling.
Totally different pictures.
Totally. And it's storytelling, marketing, leadership, heck. Even just in everyday conversations trying to connect with someone, triggering those specific responses is key. It helps you captivate people, build trust, maybe even inspire them to act.
It really is like painting with a full set of colors instead of just, I don't know, different shades of gray.
Yeah.
And I can absolutely see how that builds credibility, especially, like you said, in professional situations.
Exactly. That leads right into the third big benefit our sources highlight, building credibility and authority. Vague language, especially at work, can really undermine you.
How so? Give me an example.
Okay, imagine a manager saying, we're seeing very negative results in the latest survey. That sounds hesitant, maybe a bit unsure.
Yeah, not very confident.
Now, compare that to a manager who says, the survey feedback is overwhelmingly negative, with particularly damning criticism aimed at our customer service response times.
Okay, much clearer, more direct.
And more authoritative. The second manager sounds analytical, informed, in control. They haven't just stated there's a problem. They've pinpointed where the problem is. They're offering an insight, not just an observation.
And that commands respect.
It commands respect, and it motivates people much more effectively.
So when you boil it all down, it's about moving past just making an observation and instead offering an insight, which, like you said, that's really the sign of a smart communicator.
Absolutely, that's the core of it.
Okay, so we get why very is a crutch we should probably lean on less. Let's get practical now. How do we actually equip ourselves? Our sources offered a fantastic toolkit, really, of alternatives for those super common very combinations. We pulled out a few to get you started on this lexical upgrade.
Yeah, let's dig in. First up, maybe the most common offender. Very good.
Oh yeah, the king of blandness.
Totally. It's so vague. It could describe anything from, I don't know, a decent sandwich to a life-altering experience. It's almost meaningless.
So what are some stronger options?
Okay, instead of very good, think about excellent. That's a solid all-around upgrade. High standard. Her presentation was excellent, simple, strong.
Good baseline.
Superb. This one suggests something more impressive, maybe majestic, almost awe-inspiring. The orchestra gave a superb performance.
Nice.
Exceptional. Use this when something is genuinely unusual, stands out from the pack. He has an exceptional talent for negotiation.
Okay, sets it apart.
Stellar. Think like a star. Brilliant. Top-level performance. It was a stellar quarter for sales.
Yeah.
Exemplary. This means it's so good it should be a model for others. Her leadership was exemplary.
Wow. Okay.
So you see the difference. You might call a kid's drawing marvelous as a touch of wonder, a smoothly run meeting.
Yeah.
Excellent. That groundbreaking idea, exceptional. Each word hits a different note.
That's already so much richer. Okay, let's flip it. The other side. Very bad. Another one that just fails to capture the reality a lot of the time.
Right. It could mean a minor oopsie or a total disaster. Using a better word shows you understand the gravity, or maybe it helps convey the right level of empathy.
Makes sense. So what are the upgrades for very bad?
Okay, instead of very bad, consider terrible. Good general purpose, strong negative. Often implies dread or displeasure. We had terrible weather on vacation.
Okay.
Appalling. This implies it was shockingly bad, maybe even morally offensive. The waste of resources was appalling.
Got it. More judgment there.
Abysmal. Think like an abyss. Extremely, shockingly poor quality or performance. The team's effort in the final match was abysmal.
Ouch.
Dire. This signals something extremely serious, urgent, maybe heading towards disaster. The company is in dire need of investment.
Serious warning sign.
Catastrophic. This is your top-level word for a sudden, large-scale disaster or complete failure. The earthquake had catastrophic consequences.
Okay, you say that for the big stuff.
Definitely. You wouldn't call a slightly burnt piece of toast catastrophic. You might say a boring movie was terrible.
Yeah.
Unfair rules could be deplorable. And you reserve dire for situations with really serious potential outcomes. Context is everything.
Such clear shades of meaning. Okay, one more big one, especially professionally. Very important. We hear this constantly, but like you said, it often just dilutes the actual importance.
Yeah, this one's huge for making an impact, whether you're at work or writing an essay. If everything's very important, well,
nothing is.
right.
So what should we reach for instead?
Instead of very important, try these.
Yeah.
Crucial. Means it's decisive for success or failure. Getting this deadline right is crucial,
Okay, hinges on it.
essential, absolutely necessary, fundamental. Oxygen is essential for breathing. Can't do without it.
Basic need.
Vital also means necessary, often tied to life or continued function, like vital signs or a vital component.
Life-sustaining level.
Paramount. This means it's more important than anything else. Supreme. For pilots, passenger safety is paramount.
Top priority.
Pivotal. Think of a pivot point. It's crucially important for how something develops or succeeds later. That decision was a pivotal moment for the company.
A turn.
Indispensable means you absolutely cannot manage without it or them. She's become an indispensable part of the team.
Irreplaceable. Okay.
So again, context helps you choose. A key team member, often indispensable. A historical turning point, pivotal. A core ingredient, essential. A life or death situation, definitely vital. Each word nails a specific type of importance.
That toolkit alone is incredibly useful. And I know the source material went even deeper, right? Covering things like very big, very small, very beautiful, very smart.
Oh yeah, loads more. Very fast, very slow, very interesting. Each one has this rich list of alternatives with slightly different flavors.
The whole point, really, is to help your language paint with that full spectrum of colors, not just these kind of washed out tones we fall back on. Okay, so understanding these great alternatives is step one. But how do we actually, use them? How do we integrate these words so they become natural, part of our everyday speech? Just memorizing a list feels insufficient.
It absolutely is. Memorization is just the start. True integration needs strategy. And the source material lays out some really practical ways to do this.
Like what?
The first, and honestly probably the single best method, is to read voraciously and actively.
Read a lot, basically.
Read a lot and read widely. Fiction, nonfiction, news, blogs, whatever interests you. But crucially, read actively.
What does actively mean here?
It means when you hit a word you don't quite know, don't just skip over it. Pause. Try to figure out the meaning from the context first. Then look it up to check.
Okay.
And maybe keep a little list somewhere, a notebook, a file on your phone, of new words you like and want to try using. That active engagement is what shifts words from just passive understanding to active use.
That makes total sense. You have to wrestle with the word a bit for it to stick. Okay, reading actively. What else?
Next up, practice in low-stakes environments. Don't try to bust out Brobdingnagian in your next board meeting right away.
Good advice.
Start using your new words in emails to friends, maybe in a personal journal, or even just internal team chats or memos. The aim is to move words from that passive list, words you recognize, into your active vocabulary, the words you actually use comfortably.
So build up confidence gradually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Low pressure, consistent practice. That makes them feel natural, like your words.
Okay, that sounds doable. What about the thesaurus? Friend or foe? I know I've sometimes grabbed a word from there that sounded smart but just felt wrong when I used it.
Ah, yes, the thesaurus trap. You've hit on a really key point. It's an invaluable tool, no doubt. But you have to use it wisely.
How?
Never, ever. Just swap a word because it looks fancier in the list.
Yeah.
Always check the definition of the alternative. And just as important, read example sentences. You need to understand the word's specific nuance, its connotation, the context it usually lives in. Otherwise, yeah, you end up using Brobdingnagian instead of very big and just sounding awkward, not intelligent. Nuance beats novelty every time. Another really effective strategy is simply to listen to expert communicators. Pay attention to people who speak well.
Like who?
Could be journalists you admire on, well, deep dives like this one, professors giving lectures, authors doing interviews, even really skilled debaters. Notice their word choices. How do they make complex things sound clear? How do they evoke feeling without just resorting to cliches? Often, their secret is picking the exact right word.
Learning by osmosis, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Conscious listening, though. Note the words that strike you.
That's a great tip, learning from the best. And finally, is there anything maybe a bit more fun for those of us who need that?
Oh, absolutely. Play word games. Seriously. Things like Scrabble, Boggle, crossword puzzles, even some of those vocabulary apps on your phone.
How does that help?
They make learning feel less like work. They engage your brain differently, help you see connections between words, and introduce you to new ones in a playful context. It can make absorbing new language feel almost effortless.
This has been, wow, really illuminating. It's so clear now that this whole idea of ditching very isn't just some minor grammatical tweak. It's actually a bigger commitment, isn't it? To thinking more carefully and speaking more clearly.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
about rejecting that lazy default
Yeah.
in favor of language that's expressive, specific, and powerful.
Yeah. Powerful.
Absolutely. And think about the impact for you. Every single time you pause, and instead of very good, you choose superb or excellent or stellar, you're doing more than just swapping words.
You're making a choice.
You're making a conscious choice to describe the world around you with more precision, more nuance. You're deciding to paint with that full palette, not just sketch in gray tones.
And that pays off.
Huge dividends in your career, projecting confidence and insight, in your writing, engaging readers, persuading them, even just in conversations, connecting more deeply because you're conveying exactly what you mean and feel. So you might be sitting there wondering, okay, what's the one word I could start with? The first step today to banish very and start using that richer palette.
Yeah, where do you begin?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about finding one single perfect word right now. Maybe the most powerful first step is simply to pause. Just for that extra half second, every time you automatically reach for very,
Just pause.
and ask yourself, is there another word? Is there a word that already is this intense, already this specific, already this meaningful? That pause, that question, that might be the real beginning.
That's a fantastic challenge. Start today. Just pause. Let your vocabulary start to truly reflect a sharp, observant, and thoughtful mind. We're here to help you ditch very and really discover the amazing power of finding the perfect word. Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive.